One of the hardest parts of being in a relationship is dealing with conflict. But today, we're going to look at how we can turn those tough moments into one of our biggest strengths.
Okay, think about the last argument you had with your partner. What if it wasn't a sign that something's broken? Not proof that you're failing, but something else entirely? What if that fight was actually training? It's a really powerful question, and it can completely change how we look at disagreements.
See, for most of us, when a fight happens, our brain immediately goes to, uh-oh, something is wrong with us. We see it as a failure, right? As proof that maybe we're growing apart. But what if that disagreement is actually shining a light on something important, a growth edge? It's just a place where your relationship is asking you both to evolve, turning that conflict into practice for better communication and, honestly, deeper connection.
So let's really dive into this idea. Every single argument, big or small, has information packed inside it. It's got clues about our needs, our expectations, maybe some emotional lines we didn't even know we had. The trick is to stop treating conflict like it's some final, heavy verdict on the relationship.
And that brings us back to this key idea, the growth edge. Let's be clear. This isn't a flaw. It's not a weakness in you or your partner. It's just an invitation, an opportunity to get better. It's the part of your life together that's ready to level up.
And this is where the approach really matters. I mean, think about it. When you see conflict as a verdict, the main question is always, who's wrong here? And that just leads to labels, right? You always do this, or you never listen. Resentment just builds and builds. But when you start treating it as feedback, the question totally changes. It becomes, what is this teaching us? All of a sudden, the fight is just data. It's pointing to a skill you can build together, like maybe learning to listen without jumping to defend yourself, or figuring out how to ask for what you need more clearly.
This whole way of thinking leads us to a really powerful concept from psychology called the growth mindset. It's this core belief that our abilities can actually get better with effort and practice. And wow, does this apply to relationships?
So someone with a fixed mindset might think, if we fight, it must mean we're just not compatible. It's like your ability to get along is set in stone. But a growth mindset, it says, if we fight, it just means we're learning something new about each other. That simple little shift in perspective makes conflict feel way less scary and turns it into just another part of growing together.
And it's so important to get this. Resentment usually doesn't come from the fight itself. It comes from the feeling of being stuck in the fight. You know, when you have that same argument over and over and over again and nothing ever changes, you feel trapped. And that's when you start to pull away emotionally.
The antidote to feeling stuck? It's curiosity. Seriously. When you can approach a disagreement with a little bit of genuine curiosity like, I wonder why that bothered you so much. Or even just, what's really going on for me right now? It just softens everything. It opens the door for working together instead of just fighting each other.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? This isn't just a nice idea. There are real practical tools you can use. So here's a really simple exercise you can try after your next disagreement, once things have cooled down a bit.
It's called the post-conflict reflection. It's just 3 steps. First, you each take a moment to figure out what you are actually feeling. Not accusations, just real feelings, like sad or scared or maybe lonely. Second, what was I needing in that moment that I didn't say out loud? Maybe it was just a little reassurance, or maybe you just needed some space. And third, and this is the big one, you identify just one thing you could both try to do differently next time. The whole point here is about learning, not about blaming. That third question is honestly the most powerful part of this whole thing. It pulls you out of what just happened and gets you focused on building a better future together. It's not about fighting round 2. It's about designing a better way to handle things for the next time things get tense, because they will. What's that one small tweak you could both agree to try?
And all of this brings us to one last really helpful metaphor for thinking about conflict. It's a simple phrase that kind of sums up this entire approach. Treat conflict as a classroom, not a courtroom. Think about it. A courtroom is all about finding out who's guilty. It's about assigning blame and passing judgment. But a classroom is for learning, for asking questions, for trying things out, and for developing new skills. The strongest couples don't avoid conflict. They learn from it. They don't put labels on each other. They learn with each other. So, we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Think back to your last disagreement. What if it wasn't just a problem, but it was actually practice? What was it trying to teach you? For more insights on building stronger, more resilient relationships, you can check out some resources we've linked in the description below. Thanks for exploring this with us today.